Alright everybody, looks like we are live, so looks like we got quite a few folks in here, so let's go ahead and got the hashtag coloring book, so let's go ahead and see who's here. So if that, let me know if that looked awful, because it looked awful on my screen when I was watching it go through. So we got Candy's here. Thank you, Candy. Sushi Berry's here. How's it going? Hey, Scott. How's it going? Key and Queen Cichlids. We've got Scotty G's here. How's it going? Bob Kaler. How's it going? Pam's here. 54 Punchy. Make sure to subscribe to Pam if you are not. Pam's getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, so definitely check her out. Candy, I got Candy. Rack's here from River Life. Check out Rack as well. Scott Backer, Dan Slee, Mr. Bees, Anna's Hobbies, Turbo Fish. How's it going, AJ? The Zen Ginger, Rem and Liz featuring Fish. How's it going? I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. Then we got, let me see, Amateur Aquatics. How's it going? The Loach Guy. KG Cichlids, Alien World Aquatics, how's it going? See, Multi-Tank Addiction, hey Chris, make sure you check out Chris's channel and his live stream before mine. So, Rockford Fish Keeping's here, so I think we got everybody. If I've missed you, I do apologize. So how is the audio, first of all? Because I did get a new microphone, so I do want to check the audio real quick. Should be better. So hey JT Aquatics, how's it going? So okay, just get an audio check compared to the to the future, but I think it's good. I did some testing earlier and it seemed to be working okay. So just make sure we get a mic check, and then let me know if you guys are hearing any of the fish tanks behind me. You shouldn't be, but if you are. Make sure you guys let me know. So, all right, let's go ahead here and get on with any announcements and such. The fish tank barn reconstruction is ongoing at the moment, so we do have a little bit of progress. So let's go ahead here and I will show you the phone cam. So that's the 125 gallon tank. We do have fish in there now, so we did move the fish. You hear the tanks? Alright, Scott, I'll have to figure that out later then. Alright, hold on. Alright, you shouldn't be now. We fixed that. So, but the 125 gallon is done. So, yeah, I know monster fish is a hot topic, Scott. So I'm going to take it from a different point. A little bit of it's going to be from my saltwater, saltwater side as well. Yeah, we fixed the bubbles for now. Obviously, it's not a permanent solution, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into the topic at hand. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of a screen share, and we're going to kind of delve into this topic in a few different ways, actually. So we're going to share the screen, and we're going to delve into the first piece of this, which is the tank busters, monster fish, etc. You know, things like the arowana here, and then also, if you want to go, things like the cat shark. I'm going to kind of, you know, tie some salt water into this as well. But if you have both of these, I mean, you know, I kind of got motivated from this by watching John's video on Sunday, where he was out on the trail, kind of just talking about how powerful the fish are and how you really need to really handle them with care. And then he kind of referenced Scott's comments on, you know, how, you know, should we have monster fish or not? So there's a lot of opinions on this kind of stuff. You know, should people have red-tailed cats? Should people have, you know, big arowanas? Should they have stuff like sharks? So it's kind of a tough question, you know, from an ethical standpoint here in the hobby. I will come out and say it. I'm really not a monster fish keeper, but at the same time, you know, I've been involved in quite a few different areas of call it conservation, etc. So, you know, with the MBI and stuff like that. So, hey Anthony, how's it going? So it's really kind of an interesting, you know, I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a different. I'm sorry to hear about your angelfish aqua balls. That sucks. I've been there. So I'm going to come at this from a little bit of a different angle. So, you know, should we keep stuff like the arowana? I don't know. I mean, it's a question that we all kind of have to ask yourself as a hobbyist. A, can you handle a fish like that? Can you handle the expense? Can you handle the, you know, the physical nature of that fish? Or things like a dovai. I mean, you know, if you watch Scott's stream, you hear that dovai hit the top of the tank every single time. So if you have, you know, you have the ability to handle that fish. I mean, can you afford to feed it? Can you afford to care for it? Can you afford to have the tank for it? I mean, can you afford, you know, there's a money aspect of it, and there's also a, you know, what's right for the fish aspect. I mean, for example, in my opinion, this is Mike's opinion, should people have arapaimas? I don't think so. I don't think people should be running around with arapaimas. I mean, I guess just look at Ohio Fish Rescue, for example, right? I mean, there's way too many people that get involved in a fish like that, and the next thing you know, they can't handle it, and it ends up at Ohio Fish Rescue, for example. I'm not saying you know, we should ban them. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. But at the same time, I don't know what the solution is, right? You know, should we, you know, should people have to, you know, pass some sort of inspection? Should they do, you know, I don't know. It's an interesting question. But, you know, it's something I think as each individual hobbyist, and if you're a responsible hobbyist, you need to take into account, you know, like, you know, can you take care of that fish? Even multi-tanked syndrome, call it. You know, can you handle 90 tanks? You know, I've kind of found that limit. So there's a lot of different ways, you know, as a hobbyist that you need to be responsible and take care of a fish like this, or, you know, again, the cat shark, which is a different animal altogether. You know, like permits. Yeah, I mean, should people get a permit? I don't know. I mean, there's a different, you know, who am I, you know, at one point, you know, you can take it from both sides, right? Who am I to say, oh, you shouldn't be able to have XYZ fish, you know? Exactly. So, you know, one of those things where, I don't know, you know, and it gets into that whole question of how much do you want your government involved, and you take that down a really slippery slope, which if you want. But, you know, at the same time, so, you know, it's one of those things. So that's the tank buster side of it. Yeah, I did put the tank busters on a little bit to get views, but they're all there's a lot of other aspects to what fish should we keep, shouldn't we keep kind of thing that we need to kind of visit as well. So let's go on to the next piece of this, and let's talk about more common things. And should, you know, yeah, cities require permits for cats and dogs, for example. Exactly. So, you know, who knows? I mean, you know, but I guess there's a point where you reach, you know, maximum, you know, exactly. I don't know. I mean, should you take, I don't know, I mean, should you be able to have a license for each tank? So, you know, one of the other things too, if you want to think about it, is, you know, like I lived in the UK for a while. I don't think I've ever told you guys that, but one of the things in the UK is you actually have to have a TV license. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but literally you have to pay the government $300 per TV to have a license. That's, you know, that's England for you. It is what it is. But yeah, so, you know, Chevy Fish is, you know, I think if a person can properly care for the fish for its lifetime, yeah, they can sign a permit. Yeah, this, you know, I guess it depends on how intrusive the permit is too. You know, if you talk to, or if you watch Greg Sage's channel, you know, he has the his permit from the state of Colorado on there. So, yeah, you know, Big Rich would be somebody, would be an interesting test case for this for sure. So, you know, you can go a lot of different ways with it. So, apparently we might have a troll. Oh, do we have to do the troll thing again? We know what happens to trolls around here. So, you know, this is what happens to trolls. So yeah, so that's what happens to trolls. So we'll leave that there for a moment. Oh, no troll? Oh, darn. Okay. We'll go back to the screen share then. So thank you, Rem and Liz. So real quick, as we're 14 minutes in. Oh, was there trolls last night, Bob? Oh, I was sort of out of it last night. I was watching Bob. I watched the Steam Fight, but other than that, I really didn't catch much. So, oh, he's got a screen just for you. Trolls don't lie. So, anyways, let's go ahead here and kind of hit the next piece of this. And I'm going to use the clownfish as an example. Yeah, so you don't need the government. Yeah, so it's one of those things where, you know, do you need the government? Do you not need the government in your fish room? Who knows, right? But, you know, we're going to hit the clownfish now. And clownfish wise, you know, for example, you know, clownfish, guppies, platies. Do we need to go collect a lot of wild guppies and platies? Probably not. You know, I mean, there's no reason to take a wild clownfish from the wild, right? You know, maybe a few for a breeder to change the brood stock, add some more genetics into the line, but other than that, really doesn't need anything else. So I think that was one that's really, you know, we really need to kind of keep an eye on that too, right? So we, you know, especially the saltwater side, there's a lot of focus on that. You know, should people be allowed to take saltwater fish from the ocean? So, you know, the more that we can captively breed in that space, as well as keeping the locals involved, which is an important aspect of all of these things. You know, just otherwise, if you don't have the locals involved, then yeah, I mean, Scotty, I mean, it is a lot of it is about the money. That's a fair point. So, but you do have to keep the locals involved, or else, you know, they start bombing the reefs, burning the rainforest. You know, it's all kind of a similar, you know, this is where kind of saltwater and freshwater kind of intertwine, right? I mean, it's the same thing. That's just you're talking reefs in one case and rainforest in the other, and they're exactly the same thing. So, let's get to the next picture here. All right, so we're going to add to the next piece of this, you know, what should we keep, what should we not, which is probably why I should have titled this instead. But we've got, this is the Peppermint Angelfish. So yeah, one of the things too, amateur aquatics is interesting, on the saltwater side especially. You need to be really careful with what you breed and how many you breed, because it's a different market. So hey, Fishroom Fever, how are you doing? So for example, in the saltwater world, there is no auction. So you know, you don't have a easy outlet. Hey Melvin, how's it going? So there's not really an easy outlet for you to get rid of your fish out of the, you breed a whole bunch of clownfish and you can't sell them. You're stuck with 8 billion clownfish that you can't get rid of. So hey Jess, how's it going? So this fish right here, Zen Ginger, is a peppermint angelfish. And the reason that we want to talk about this fish, yes, that is an expensive fish. That is a $25,000 to $30,000 fish. So what it takes to collect that fish is it lives down about 300 to 400, 500 feet deep in the ocean, in the reef. So what happens is a diver with a rebreather will actually have to come down, go down all the way down there. Usually they can get, before they have to start ascending, I think they get like 30 minutes to half an hour. Not exactly sure on that anymore. But we did have Dr. Richard Pyle come and speak to us one time at the Saltwater Club. He's the guy who basically is the expert on rebreather diving. So, hey Scott, how's it going? Thank you for coming by, Scott. Have a good night. So yeah, so literally, and then to take that fish up to the surface, you need to needle that fish, much like you would for a swim bladder issue, for a for the freshwater fish, and you've got to do the 4, 5, 6 hour ascent, so A, you don't get the bends, and B, the fish doesn't get the bends, because the fish will basically almost explode if you do not needle it slowly and let the pressure out of the swim bladder. So it's definitely cool for sure. So but again, I mean, is this a fish we should keep? Obviously, there's other fish that are collected that deep that are not 30 grand, but at the same time, should we really be keeping these fish? There's other fish. There's we've shown out here before the Grandma Dijongai, which is another fish that's collected fairly deep. Thankfully, that fish is being captively bred now, somewhat. But should we take these fish out of the wild and risk the lives of the divers who are getting these fish? There's a guy, I know of at least one time where someone passed away because of trying to collect fish like this. So something to consider. So let's go ahead and hit the next one now. This one is going to be Venomous Fish and Corals. So we've got the fox face here and the zoanthid. We did talk a little bit about palitoxin last week along with Bob. So Bob talked about this on his stream as well. So hey Melvin, how's it going? I know I saw you in here earlier. Hey Jess and Derek. So it's a good time, I think, to kind of do the sales pitch. So basically, sub up to anyone else who's a creator in the channel. Go ahead and, or in the stream here, go ahead and check out everyone who's in here. If you like their stuff, go ahead and sub up to them. Also, if you made it for the 20 minutes of me rambling on about fox faces and zoanthids and all kinds of other stuff, hit the subscribe button here as well. I would greatly appreciate it. When we started, we were at 920, so we got about 80 to go. So we're slowly but surely grinding our way up there, running the wishbone to get ourselves up to up to the 1,000. So anyway, that's the sales pitch. Candy did put the Fish Barn merch up there, so if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out as well. I would appreciate it if you check it out. So, but let's go ahead and head back over here now to the venomous fish. So So these guys, you've got, the fox face, which a lot of people probably don't realize that's venomous, but if it has a venom up in this front spine here. So as the fish, if you go to grab the top of the fish, it'll stick you in the top. It's not fatal or anything, but at the same time, it's definitely not something to mess with. So find Mike's red button, you want to. So thanks, Rack. Yep, so we are grinding our way there. Slowly but surely, we're running the wishbone here, as I always say. We're going to get 3 yards at a time, but we will make it there eventually over the goal line. Thankfully, I do have the watch time hours, so I do, like I said, I do appreciate all of your support, as always. So, should we keep this stuff? Honestly, a lot of this stuff, the venomous stuff, as long as you're careful with it, if you have children, obviously you shouldn't be having them mess around with zoanthids. You shouldn't be having lionfish and octopus and stuff like that. I mean, the one thing I meant to put on here, and I realized I forgot as we were talking, is the blue ring octopus. One octopus are escape artists, so literally, literally you need almost like a safe to put them in, because otherwise they will escape through the smallest hole, because octopi can kind of slide. So yes, thank you for your service, Aqua Balls, for sure. I have quite a few family members that are in the military, so I do appreciate it. Sorry, I need a little bit of water. All right, let's hit the next piece here of the what should we keep or what should we not. Kind of another saltwater side here. Should we keep stuff? There's some stuff that's just tough to keep. Kind of similar to, kind of similar to the monster fish, but it's quick care requirements. This Achilles tang, is tough. It's a tough fish to keep. You need a lot of flow. You need a big tank. Tangs in general are kind of like big monster Danios of the saltwater world. I mean, they go 100 miles an hour, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I mean, this is what they do. So you need a lot of flow. You need a big tank for this guy. You need good water quality. A lot of tangs are susceptible to ick, so you got to make sure you quarantine it, take care of it correctly. So, again, should we keep stuff like this along with stuff like the corallivore butterflies and stuff like the orange spot filefish that only eat corals? Seahorses, I think some are better than others. Zen Ginger, if you want to talk, look up someone. It's Dan Underwood is the gentleman's name, who's a big seahorse breeder. But yeah, seahorse breeders are for sure. They're easier than some are easier than others, but in general they're not terrible. You do need to give them the right tank mates and the right conditions. So it's a little bit different than a reef tank. You don't want to be bashing them around with Vortex power heads and stuff like that. So that's something that you definitely want to research for sure. But things like this, just the care requirements. Should we be allowed to keep Achilles tangs and butterfly fish? It's a good question. I mean, I've killed quite a few butterfly fish in my day. So is that fair to the fish? Who knows? But yeah, live aquaria is, I know from the freshwater side they've gotten a little bit of heat from some creators, but the saltwater side, I will tell you, is top notch. That's a top notch operation. The two places I would tell you to order saltwater fish from, Amateur Aquatics, I am going to mention that. That was something that was on my mind too. Live Aquaria and Blue Zoo Aquatics are the two places you want to buy your fish from if you're doing saltwater online. No disrespect to anyone else, but those are the two places that I would consider. Let me see. Amateur Aquatics, yes. Manna Shrimp for sure is another one. for, definitely, those are those are our literal tank busters. I mean, they can bust your tank. They've been known to. So it's another fish you got to keep, there's a lot of these fish, can be dangerous. I mean, even these tangs, right? If you're not careful, I mean, this tang right here, if you look right here, this is a spine right here. It's got a, the yellow tang that's a little more pronounced. It's white and you can see it better. But that's a scalpel, and that thing will come out and it'll slash you open basically. So definitely, we got to be kind of, getting to that. We got to be kind of careful of what we keep. So, all right, the last piece of this, and this is the last slide, is stuff that is invasive. So I was going to put a goldfish with this too. So you can put goldfish with this. So you could put, stuff that's invasive. So these lionfish, got over here, hobbyist or whoever, let them loose in Florida, and now they are all over the ocean down in Florida, and they don't really belong there. There's no, I think some things are obviously starting to eat them, but and they're eating things like that $5,000 Grandma de Jong that we were talking about earlier. So again, comes a lot of this stuff as I'm kind of closing my thoughts out on the main topic itself. Hey John, how's it going? Is you got to make sure can you handle this fish? Can you handle the 3 foot long arowana that's all muscle? Can you handle the spine terror of death that this thing is, or the fox face? Fox face is pretty simple, but blue ring octopus. So it's an interesting question. There's a lot of tales and ways you can take this. So you can take this from, and secondly, I think we should, think about, we have to still keep, the native populations in the countries where these things come from. We need to find a way, to find a balance between captive breeding and keeping them employed, so that, they're not going out and destroying, the rainforest or the reef. With which they are, with which they live in. So, and where a lot of these fish come from. So, all right. So let me go back to me now. I think we've rambled here for a minute. So, all right, guys. What are your guys' thoughts? So I've rambled on now for a while. So I'm going to give you guys a turn here to go ahead and let me know what you think. So we can go ahead and, question here is, are there things that you think should be banned? I mean, my opinion, you should probably not have arapimas running around in fish stores, in my opinion. And stuff, arowanas I'm kind of okay with if the right person. Should we be regulated? Should we not? I mean, it's a tough question. $10 super chat. So, I mean, I can put my PayPal on there if you guys want. If you guys want to do PayPal, that's all right by me. Let me put it on there. That's my PayPal address. So, if anyone, so thank you, River Life. So. So hey Valley Fish, how's it going? Oh, we're not gonna do it. You want me? We can do math again if you want. That's an interesting question. We could definitely do some more math. So what I can do is I can go ahead and grab the. Oh, so we got amateur aquatics. I think big fish like that must be kept in ponds. Yeah. So. No mathing. We can do math. We are completely. We can completely do math if you guys want. I don't know if I'm up for mathing today. I do that kind of all day, in some way, shape, or form. But I think we're good for now. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like the arapimas, red-tailed cats. I mean, we don't need those around. So. But Yeah, so we do. I will show you guys a little bit. I'm not going to go upstairs tonight. It's too much of a mess up there. But we do have quite a bit done up here. So if you just give me 1 second, I will switch all the cameras and whatnot around. And we'll go from there. These guys need 1 moment here. Actually, one of the things I am doing is checking out, making sure I have what the heck that fish is. Oh, yeah, way too much. Here, I'm going to show you guys something for just a second. So this is how I keep track of all the fish I have in here. Not always perfect, but I do keep track of. So I do actually, you didn't get away from Excel completely. Is I do keep a lot of the fish in here, just because I forget them sometimes, and this is what I use to make my labels. So I gotta find what that thing's called. Oh, it's Pseudotropheus interruptus. Okay, I'm good. I am good now. There was one fish up here that I don't have a label on yet. That's fairly new, so I had to remember what it was, which is a scary and sad thing in its own right. But so we are going to get the camera on. So we are on the camera. All right, so I'm going to assume that the audio is good because I've done it correctly. But we did move, and I do apologize for the mess in here as usual. But these are they're Cyprichromis chimzulu. They're a little kind of Mbuna species, kind of similar to the like the Damascenites and the yellow labs and stuff. Speaking of yellow labs, we got these; those are down here now, along with the purple ACIs. So got the 125 going. The other fish I really do want to show you. These are the Xiphophorus calmani. It's a wild type swordtail. So hopefully we can get fry out of these guys pretty soon. But now if we get the male to turn around, you can see he's got a pretty cool looking sword. So, and then the last but not least, we'll head over here. So we did take the 90 gallon that had the that had all of the yellow labs and purple ACI, and we've got the Neolamprologus brevis in here, the sunspots, and then also we apologize for the algae, but we do have the Cyprichromis leptosoma blue impimble, I believe is how you would say that, but those guys are in here as well. So that's kind of the progress for now. One other piece of progress is that we are starting to move fish out of this top rack here, and we're going to start getting that slid back a little bit. We're not completely there yet, but that's something that's on the list. But we've got the looking at this, we do have 2 of the tanks pretty much cleared out of fish now. I've got to clear out the other 3, and then we'll be good to go from there. All right, so all right, let me see here. No mathing. Let me see. Pythagorean theorem makes an outstanding footprint for hardscape. Yeah, for sure. Hurricanes and floods, fish escape, absolutely. Beautiful Africans, nice swords. Okay, so Bob, I got those in Grand Rapids from, if you watch Dan's Fish, there's a guy he did a fish room tour of named Mike Manji. They were from him, and then there was another group as well, the littler ones were sort of from someone else at the same auction. So there's definitely some pretty cool swords in there. There's been some other musical fish upstairs, but upstairs right now is kind of in a sad state of affairs at the moment. So it's kind of all going to come together over Christmas. So definitely, over Christmas you'll see some more of the changes as we go through, and I'll try to film more of it. But yeah, so leptosomas are pretty cool as well. I do enjoy those. I've not had a ton of luck reading them yet, but I have some upstairs as well. There's some Gatumba jumbos upstairs. As ditherfish and mixed African cichlids. Yeah, I like the purple ACI. Those are some of my favorite fish here in the fish room. I did pull some yellow labs, some eggs of the yellow labs as well. I was really anal looking for yellow labs. Like, there's a lot of, like, I don't know if I want to call them junk yellow labs floating around, but there's some really just nasty looking yellow labs, and like thankfully I found some good ones. So I do need to do a better job. You know, that's one of the things going into 2020 is I do need to breed some more fish. So that's kind of in the hopper. Well, once we kind of get everything sorted out here, you know, like that auction in Grand Rapids kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. So I came home with way too many fish, and it's kind of put the fish room in a little bit of a tailspin for a while, unfortunately. But that's kind of how it goes sometimes. So, all right, so we are at 9:40. So let's go ahead now, and we'll do the Facebook posts of the week, since we haven't got to those yet. All right, so first one is if you could offer one piece of advice to someone keeping fish for the first time, be patient would be mine. Go. So definitely, if someone could link Pam's channel out, I would appreciate it. Bob, I'll go ahead and make you a mod, and that way you can go ahead and link Pam's channel out. So make sure you guys subscribe to Pam if you're not. That being said, subscribe to all the other channels here as well, like Melvin, River Life, Bob Kaler, Scott, King, Queen Cichlids, etc. So definitely go ahead and sub up to everybody. So yeah, so one piece of advice you would offer to someone, definitely patience is one. The other one I would say was do your research. My 10s, and you can sense if they're starting to do that dance. I'm very happy watching them very close. Okay? Yeah, like do your research on it first, for sure. Yeah, so anyone else have any thoughts on that one? I know there's a little bit of a lag, so I'll give it a second here or two. So yeah, so let's get Pam over that finish line for sure. So okay, so Dr. Black is taking a break tonight. I saw him on last night, so looks like Alien World is going on instead. So if you guys want to check out, check out his channel, check out the stream, definitely go ahead. Research for sure. So get the fundraiser for candy, absolutely. Hey Caleb, how's it going? So and I think Pam is going Wednesday nights now after Dan. So definitely check her out. Fortunately, I don't stay up late enough to watch Pam very often, so she might see me pop in for a moment and then go to bed. But generally, but check Pam out. Yes, always have a backup heater. So, you know what's really weird is it's really kind of unnerving not having the air pump on behind me, because like usually I'm used to having the air pump on behind me and can't hear it. So all right, so let's go ahead and hit the second question here on our post of the week. So this didn't work out so hot, did it? All right, well, so basically what this is I'll have to I'm gonna go from memory, but basically the person in this post was having trouble keeping said crayfish in this tank, and it kept escaping. So I thought it was just kind of a funny little overture there. So hey Susan, how's it going? Yeah, that's another good one, Zen Ginger. Definitely don't chase parameters for sure. All right, next one here, something I always like. Do you run a manifold to feed various reactors from a single pump? It's a space-saving, energy-saving, convenient way to make adjustments. So this was from Milev's Reef. This is something I would definitely recommend if you're running sumps and you're having multiple tanks on that sump system. Run a manifold. You can also run it to different reactors if you have like carbon and whatever from the saltwater side. You can run it to your skimmers and stuff like that. So that's one of the things we are going to tackle over the Christmas holiday as well, is the saltwater tank. It's been definitely the saltwater tank needs some work right now. We'll just put it that way. Sand shifters from Lake Tanganyika. I've got 5 of them. Started the breeding dance. Love watching them. Yeah, I enjoy the Shelleys. I don't see them as often as I would like, but I'm hoping I can see them a little more having them downstairs now. So, but yeah, definitely, if you're into saltwater, if you're going to start a saltwater tank, I would highly recommend checking out Mark. He's been doing it forever. He was doing it and teaching it when I started back in 2007. Started playing around with saltwater at kind of a hardcore level. So Mark is the guy to go check out. Hands down, he's a great guy. So definitely check Mark out. But yeah, I mean, this is the way to definitely, manage your tanks. So, all right, let's go ahead now and get up back in the scene here. So, what do you guys think of the little bit of the Christmas spirit here with the scene? That picture is actually the blow up in front of our house. So, there's a little bit of a story on how he ended up with this blow up. Actually, I had somehow managed to. Let's see if I can find something as an example. That's kind of like perfect, I guess. So, come on. So let's say we got this plug here. Literally, hey Petsotics, how's it going? So literally, like, I tripped over the one to our old one, and I literally pulled the wire out from like right here, like right where it goes into the connector, and there was no way to like fix it. So in my infinite wisdom, I was like, oh, why don't I just splice an extension cord to it and plug it in? I'm like, well, next thing you know, it catches on fire, flames come out of it. So I burned down my kids' blow up, unfortunately. So I owed them a second one. So that's how we ended up with the one that we have here. So do you guys have any other thoughts on the which fish to keep, which fish to not? So that's, I kind of think, the monster fish craze, and call it a craze, I guess. But it's one of those things where it's like you really got to sit and kind of evaluate your commitment and responsibility to it. And, so yeah, and redundancy is definitely a really good thing, Chevy fish. Having extra pumps around, extra heaters around. One of the things that I sat and did when I was building the fish tank barn was, I needed to have, call it, for each different scenario that I could come up with, like say like heating, right? So if I were to lose power and lose heat out here, what could I do to counteract the heater in the barn? So do I, Bob, does my family participate? Not really. My daughters will come on the stream once in a while, especially in the summer, but they generally don't have that much interest in fish keeping. They're just kind of doing their thing. So fortunately, they don't at this point. Oh, excuse me. But if they do, I would support it. They have, the neighbor kid has a beta in a bull, which I don't. We're gonna, it's one of those things when you have people around you, and they do the beta and the bull thing, and you can't, it's hard to be like, hey, you should put that in a tank with a heater, and I think she's actually going to, but it's one of those things where you got to kind of be delicate in how you handle it. You don't want to walk into somebody's house and be like, at least I don't, and maybe some other people are a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, so the family isn't really involved, unfortunately, but it's okay. It's their, if they wanted to be, my wife's fairly busy, so she's not really her thing at all. Yeah, but the rest of us, the daughters have come out here. The oldest one's helped a little bit. She helps feed when I'm not home. So she does, the oldest one does have a little bit of an interest, I think. But yeah, so it's definitely one of these, it's more dad's thing. But if they were ever interested, I would be more than happy to have them out here. So I'd have to share tanks and stuff. So we are at. So send me some yellow rainbows. Don't keep red-tailed cats as usually large, eat too fast and eat everything. Yes, that's one I am kind of I don't think should be here, but yeah, red tails is definitely on my list of ones you really shouldn't have around. I've got one for you guys. What do you guys think about kind of the the guys keeping bass? Hey, Jay's Better Room, how's it going? Tampa Tom, how's it going? Yeah, so what do you guys think about stuff like the people keeping bass and walleyes and stuff like that? That one's an interesting one too, and I didn't put that one in here, but Pam, or not Pam, wow. Candy's only got the turquoise, Bosemani, Gertrude, and the dwarf neon. So for the rainbows. So I might get some rainbows. I'm kind of on the fence. I still have the 120 gallon tank sitting outside that I've got to get in here. But yeah, the bass I'm kind of You know, I mean, those things belong. I mean, yeah, you know, what I really don't like watching is I don't like watching like the feeding videos. You know, it's like I'm just not my thing. But you know, as long I'm okay with it as long as it's like a natural. I don't like watching it, but I can't complain if it's like a natural feeding. If you're feeding it with minnows or whatever. But yeah, TM, I agree. They belong in the lakes for sure. That's my opinion. I've always been tempted though. If I were to keep a native Michigan tank, would always keep sunfish and perch, for example. All right, so Bob, you could rate it. Oh, this is Ginger and Bob, right? I think they're Ginger Graves and I think Bob. They're in like Tennessee or something, right? So Bob's got some Marmor Krebs. Cool. All right, so we've been on now for 53 minutes. So if you guys have not subscribed, please definitely subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to the other fellow creators that are in here as well. So Amateur Aquatics kept redfin perch, which are native to England and Europe, which are similar to bass, but I released them back into the wild. Yeah, I think one of the things in Michigan I know of is we did have someone from the DNR at one of the events I went to. Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's kind of another one of these, like, what do you think, right? Because if you have like a peacock bass and you have a largemouth bass, they're kind of the same fish, really. If you look at the structure. So hey, Recon 338, how's it going? So we got Pam up to 967. So Alien World is next. I'm not really a fan of monster fish period in aquariums, but my popular opinion is not. Yeah, no, that's why I was trying to really be very careful and not giving an opinion. Unfortunately for me, I am very much in the corner of really no. I don't want to keep monster fish because I don't want to keep like one fish in a tank. I don't want to have my 245 gallon behind me with like one fish in it, or this like one, or the 125, right? Like I don't find enjoyment out of that. Even though fish like Thor are pretty cool. He's a wet pet. You can pet him. He'll bite your hand off, etc. There's a cool factor to it. So we gotta get Pam. Pam needs 33. So get Pam up to 1,000. So definitely go ahead and get her up there. So all right. So we are at 9:55. So we'll take some last questions here. Bob's got some nice bass on his walls from Florida. Kind of wish I didn't though. Yeah. There's quite a few good bass up here. I seem to catch quite a few in the rare occasions now that I go fishing. But quite a few nice bass up here. They have muskie here too, like Lake St. Clair, which is about 35 minutes from me, 35 minutes east. Definitely is one that it's one of the world's best muskie fisheries. If you guys don't know what muskie are, they're basically about 5 feet long. Speaking of a powerful fish, it's and amateur aquatic. What's my biggest fish? Honestly, it's probably the Geophagus or the cichlids here right now. I don't have a whole lot of big fish in here. Basically the biggest fish are basically like peacock size. So Yeah, so there were some huge fish. My buddy growing up had a pond in his front yard. Um, he lived out in the country, and so it was definitely we would catch. We call them Walters from the Golden Pond, but we would get them. You know, they were, you know, 14, 15, 16 inches long. I mean, they were enormous, you know, and they were easy to catch because no one ever fished them out, right? So you know, throw something in there, they'd take it. And, you know, it was kind of unfair actually. So yeah. So you mean like you mean like flower horns? I mean that's one that's kind of a wet pet too. Um, Speaking of flower horns, I have an interesting algorithm story for you. So it was there's a my boss actually was, you know, I've shown him the channel. All the people I work with know about it. So but anyway, he was like, yeah, she's like, yeah. Um, he's like, yeah, I was watching one of your videos, and then all of a sudden, like in my feed, these videos keep coming up, and I keep watching them. So it turned out to be, and I'd forgotten this channel was out there, but it was Foo the Flower Horn. So somehow between, like, you know, Foo the Flower Horn, and apparently like he was watching ant videos, and somehow Foo the Flower Horn had some ant channel like in his like recommended channels or whatever it's called. And so literally like he somehow got routed to Foo the Flower Horn from watching ant videos. So, and then I didn't realize that Foo the Flower Horn had like double the subscribers that like Corey has. I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa. So anyway, so we are getting close to 10 o'clock. If you guys have any last minute questions, go ahead and fire them here in the chat. But definitely hit up Pam's channel, hit up Candy's GoFundMe. Go ahead and watch Alien Worlds after the stream here. So I'm going to go ahead, I think, and we'll go ahead and sign it off so we can get over to Alien World. But with that being said, if you've not subscribed to Pam's channel, subscribe to Pam. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do that, as well as any of the other creators that are in here. So with that being said, stay fishy, keep on breeding, and we will catch you guys on the next video.